Just 10 minutes. She realized she had been sitting in the same place for almost an hour when the tea in her cup had gone completely cold, and she could no longer remember if she had even taken a single sip from it. The room was not silent, not really. There was always some kind of sound if you paid attention. A car passing, someone walking upstairs, a door closing somewhere far away. But none of it felt connected to her, as if she was watching life happen from behind a thin glass wall. She picked up the cup, looked at it, then put it back down again. "I should probably do something," she said quietly, but her voice didn't sound like a decision. It sounded like a habit, like something people say when they don't actually plan to move. Her phone buzzed on the table, and for a second she didn't react. Then she slowly reached for it and checked the screen. It was Tom. She stared at the name, then answered. "Hi. You sound like you've just woken up," Tom said. "I've been awake for hours," she replied. "Doing what?" She looked around the room again. "Not much," she said. Tom was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That doesn't sound like you." She gave a small smile, even though he couldn't see it. "I think it is me," she said. "I just didn't notice before." "That sounds a bit worrying," he said. "It's not worrying," she replied. "It's just slow." "Slow can turn into stuck," he said. She didn't answer immediately. "I know," she said after a few seconds. "Are you going out today?" he asked. "I don't know." "Okay, that's not a good answer," Tom said. "Try again." She let out a quiet breath. "Maybe," she said. "That's still not a decision." "I'm working on it," she replied. Tom laughed softly. "You always say that when you don't want to do something." "That's not true." "It is," he said. "Listen, I'm not going to give you a long speech, but you need to leave the house, even if it's just for 10 minutes. She leaned back in her chair. "Why is everyone so obsessed with going outside?" "Because staying inside all day makes everything feel heavier than it is," he said simply. She thought about that. "It already feels heavy," she said. "Then don't make it worse," he replied. There was something in his voice, not pushy, not soft either, just steady. "All right," she said finally. "I'll go out." "Good," Tom said. "Message me when you do." "I'm not a child," she said. "I know," he replied. "But sometimes adults need reminders too." She smiled slightly. "Fine." They ended the call, and for a moment she stayed exactly where she was, as if her body had not yet received the message. Then, slowly, she stood up, picked up her coat, and walked towards the door. "Just 10 minutes," she said to herself. "That's all." When she stepped outside, the air felt colder than she expected, but not in a bad way. It made her more awake, more present. She took a deep breath and looked up at the sky, which was grey but bright, the kind of sky that doesn't promise anything but still feels open. She started walking without thinking too much about where she was going, and after a few minutes she realized she was heading towards the high street. It wasn't busy, but there were enough people around to remind her that the world was still moving. A man walked past her talking on his phone, saying, "No, I told you already, I'll finish it today," and she found herself wondering if he actually would, or if he would say the same thing again tomorrow. A woman stood outside a shop, adjusting her bag, then suddenly laughed at something on her phone. A real laugh, not polite, not controlled, and for a second it made her feel something close to curiosity. She kept walking. After a while, she noticed a small bakery she had passed many times before but never entered. Today, without overthinking, she stopped, looked at the window, and then pushed the door open. A soft bell rang above her head. The warmth inside hit her immediately, along with the smell of fresh bread. "Hi there," the man behind the counter said. "What can I get you?" She stepped closer, looking at the shelves. "I'm not sure," she said. "What do you recommend?" He smiled. "Depends what you're in the mood for. Something sweet or something simple?" She thought for a moment. "Something simple," she said. He nodded and picked up a small loaf. "This one is good. Fresh this morning." She looked at it, then said, "All right, I'll take it." As he wrapped it, he asked, "Busy day?" She shook her head. "Not really." He handed her the bag. "Sometimes that's better," he said. She paid and took the bag. "Thank you," she said. "Take care," he replied. When she stepped back outside, she realized something small had changed. Not a big feeling, not happiness exactly, but a kind of quiet shift, like something inside her had moved just enough to make space for air. Her phone buzzed again. "Tom, did you go out?" She typed, "Yes." A second later, he replied, "Good. Where are you?" She looked around. "Near the shops," she wrote. "What are you doing?" She glanced at the bag in her hand. "I bought bread," she replied. There was a pause, then his answer came. "Look at you, living a full life." She laughed softly, and this time it felt real. "It's a start," she typed. She put her phone away and started walking again, slower this time, not because she had nowhere to go, but because for the first time that day she didn't feel like she needed to rush back. As she walked, she broke a small piece of the bread and tasted it. It was warm, soft, and simple, and for a moment she focused only on that, the texture, the warmth, the taste, nothing else. And without noticing exactly when it happened, she realized she was no longer thinking about how empty the morning had felt. She was just walking, holding a piece of fresh bread in a normal street on a normal day. And somehow that felt enough.